Hey guys, welcome back to the Ramble. I am your host, Maria Legier, and this is Disconnect from Reality. There is a strange disconnect from reality when speaking with women and men who have been intravenously injected with feminism since early childhood. It seems they don't think about what they are saying. They just say it. Otherwise, the glaring double standards, double think and double speak of their bloody obvious hypocrisy would most certainly be obvious. It sure as all hell is obvious to anyone who has swallowed a red pill. In fact, it ought to be obvious to anyone who has two working brain cells to rub together. And I am lucky in that, I suppose, as I have about 2.5 brain cells left, having never devolved into watching reality television and as such burning that last half brain cell out of my head, leaving me a bit more than the standard pair to work with. Barely. Sometimes my cognitive abilities are working and not flatlining from stress and clickbaity YouTube videos. But only sometimes. On one of many forums on the internet dedicated to women, I was lucky enough to behold a woman write what she wanted in a man. She wanted a man who opened the doors for her, who pulled out her chair for her, paid the bills, carried the heaviest grocery bags and so forth and so on, with all the typical and nonsensical chivalry one has come to expect. She carried on with stating that she wanted all this, not a man who pushed her into a traditional gender role. Chew on that one for a bit. He was supposed to fulfill the traditional male gender roles, the expectations of chivalry and sacrifice. She was not supposed to fulfill any of that which is traditionally expected from women in a traditional relationship. Of course, in demanding these acts from her boyfriend, she could not help but push herself into a standard gender role as well. This was not obvious to her, or any other woman on the forum for that matter. They all clucked their tongues and pecked at their keyboards with all the hen-pecking a nest of hens could ever inspire. Yes! That is exactly what we want, need and deserve. I inquired as to why she found it alright to push him into a standard gender role whilst expecting him not to push her into one, for that was exactly what she was doing. She never replied. Imagine that. Feminism helps men too, you see, except when that means women giving up on their privilege. As the feminist hordes are known to say, privilege is invisible to those who are privileged. Yeah, I can see that. Check your privilege, shitbird. I am certain that this woman never thought about it like that, nor, it seems, do anyone who babble on like this. Men and women alike. It has become a standard response, programmed into our basic operating system until it becomes an instinctual response, or rather, a habitual response. Of course, the guy shall do this and that and the women do none of it. That's just how it is supposed to be. That is equality. And what in the hell kind of fucking misogynistic asshole are you that you expect anything from a woman? Men are not entitled to a woman's anything. Women, on the other hand, are entitled to a man's everything. And here's one for the ladies. If you want to be treated like a queen, it is only reasonable to expect you treat your man like a king. Give, and you shall receive. Expect only to receive, however, and you are an entitled princess. Expecting not to give anything back is acting like a spoiled child. And this is not an endearing trait in anyone, man or woman. Difference between men and women, it seems, is that women are defended and celebrated when acting like a spoiled child. Men are not. That's our woman-hating culture for you. Yes! Slay queen! Pro tip. Any relationship needs to be built on mutual respect. Both doing, giving and receiving in equal measures. It does not matter who does what, as long as things that need to be done are done. It is supposed to be mutually beneficial. That is part of the bargain, part of the deal, part of whatever and what not. And people don't think before they speak. Not thinking before one speaks is a very human thing, of course. It is easy to get caught up in the moment and just let the tongue waggle freely on one's chin. And we all have our own internal contradictions and such to deal with. Being less than perfect biological machines, this is a given. But the extent to which this is present in those who have gobbled feminist rhetoric is astonishing to me. Feminism is not only speaking with two tongues. It is speaking with two tongues that reside somewhere deep within the owner's rectal cavity. No matter the words that are spoken, they will still be full of shit. They come from a place that is full of shit. A repository of shit, if you will. These tongues don't waggle freely on the chin as much as they waggle freely on the unwashed buttocks of their owner. Observing behavior such as the aforementioned makes it very difficult to believe that women actually know what they want. Dismissing traditional gender roles with one tongue whilst not only expecting it, but embracing and demanding it with the other tongue is quite the example of cognitive dissonance. Also, a man carrying the heaviest bags would, one assumes, be an expression of toxic masculinity. You know, celebrating physical strength and all that. Whilst also being wicked enough to assume that a woman cannot do the heavy lifting. Women can do everything men can, except the naughty things. That is the domain of men and men alone, even when women do the naughty things. You can't have it both ways, ladies, and that is a fact. Expecting the traditional roles from the male does simultaneously place the female into a traditional role, whether she sees it or not. If the male is expected to provide and to protect, the female is obviously expected to be both provided for and to be protected from. If the male is to pay for the meal, say, she is being provided for. If the male is to carry the heaviest bags, say, she is being protected from the strain of carrying the heaviest bags. In expecting and embracing this, she is simultaneously expecting and embracing the old gender role of being provided for and protected from. But that is the thing of it. Feminism speaks with the two tongues of the rectal cavity, screaming about equality and breaking the traditional gender roles, yet still retaining the female privilege of the traditional role. And men don't matter much. We are merely there for their amusement and subsequent debasement, human doings, not human beings. They want the one but not the other, or to put it another way, they don't want the one but they want the other. No traditional expectations for women, but traditional expectations for men. Men are still to be shackled with a traditional role. Women shall reap the benefits from their traditional role, but none of what was their part of the bargain. Because it was a bargain, a part of the social contract. Give, and you shall receive. Receive then, and you shall damned well have to give. Now, of course, I can't fault people for not seeing this disconnect from reality. It is, after all, something that is being fed to us with our less than nutritious breakfast cereal, brain food for the feeble-minded and demented. Something that causes a lack of emotional development, makes the cognitive faculties less than faculties and more like your regular meeting at a teacher's lounge on a very hungover Monday morning. Nothing good will come from it, in other words. And so we raise a generation of girls to be entitled princesses under the preposterous pretense of women in general being so feeble-minded and useless that they have allowed themselves to be oppressed by the male sex for all of eternity, demanding everything, yet expecting to not have to give anything in return for petty reasons of perceived payback and revenge, which is a far cry from actual justice, but never mind that little factoid. Boys are stupid, throw rocks at them. And this disconnect is what you get. The reverse applies to boys. We raise a generation of boys to be indentured servants, expected to sacrifice everything under the preposterous pretense that they have been omnipotent and malicious oppressors for all eternity, and not being allowed to demand or expect anything in return for the very same reasons. All the while, boys are expected to pay for the so-called sins of their fathers. That these so-called sins of their fathers is manufactured politically convenient trash is of little matter, because she who controls the past controls both the present and the future, and the feminist narrative has been in control of the past for a good and long while, through education, through academia, through government and through culture, be that television or movies or books or whatever else. It seeps into us from all possible channels. Reality is not what it is. Reality is what those who control the narrative say that it is. Twisted and malformed, but still some semblance of reality remains. Judging the past by the standards of today is not a good way of getting a picture of what the past was like. Yet that is what is being done. Claiming that working in extremely dangerous conditions for very little pay is a more privileged position to be in than taking care of the home is an interesting claim, I would dare say. What is missing from the feminist equation is of course the male experience. And I mean the true male experience, not the male experience of the top 1% or whatever. That the past was hard for women I am in little doubt of. Times were hard, all around. For, you see, it was hard for men as well. This is conveniently forgotten, of course, pushed to the wayside, hidden in the annals of history because we only ever care about the female experience. An experience which, of course, have been altered tremendously by the soothing application of feminist revisionism. One can never talk about the male experience, about male issues and problems, without having to mention the female experience, female issues and problems in the same breath. So often, whenever we see some genuine mainstream effort at talking about male issues, it always begins with something along the lines of, we know that women have problems, blah blah blah. A disclaimer put in place so that the poor women should not feel left out. Because that is exactly what a society, a culture, a government and a world that just hates women would do, obviously. It would put women up front and center, even when looking through the problems predominantly affecting men. This makes perfect sense if you squint, squeal and then proceed to roll around in the mud for a bit. Now, of course, it usually follows that men in general, or masculinity specifically, is blamed for the issues of men, prompting men to fix themselves and alter their venomously masculine behavior. When men stop being men, the message goes, all will be well in the world of men. But more importantly, all will be well in the world of women also, apparently. The biggest problem with men, according to the Church of the Latter-day Troglodytes, is that we are, in fact, men. Men must give up their masculinity as long as men stay being men and keep providing for and protecting women, without forcing women into a traditional gender role. Of course. So, man up, men, and do your part for women, and blame masculinity, that part of you that is demanded of you, for what is wrong with you. Stop doing that which you are told to do. Do it. Don't do. Do it and don't do it at the same time. And whatever you do, don't wish for sex, or a relationship. Unless she wishes for sex, or a relationship. Then you have to read her body language and understand her psychic hints, that you have to chase and make the first move. The cat and mouse game is still going strong, is still expected. Just be damned sure that you're reading the signs correctly. Otherwise, you'll get yourself a rape charge, boy. Believe women. You still have to make the first, second, third, fourth and on move, because she cannot be expected to do that, of course. That would put the onus on her. And we can't have that. Expectations of responsibility, oh noes and woes. But you should not feel entitled to anything. And don't ever say no if she actually initiates sex. Women do not deal well with rejection. Except that they do, and men don't, even when women don't, even when they do. But no means no, and sometimes yes means no as well. And sometimes no just means that you have to try harder. It is not as confusing as it sounds, honest. Insert old lady what meme here. And then carry on with your day. And that, I think, is that for this ramble. I hope you enjoyed it more than my previous rambles. Thank you very much for listening. Please check out the links down below if you want to support the channel in any way, shape or form. And I'll catch you next time. This is my Reality here, signing off.